In 1990, my wife Kathy and I built our dream home in Sheffield, Vermont. It was post and beam. We bought 45 acres on top of a mountain, and we laid out a perfect place to build our house. George Wagner from Burke dug the foundation and poured the footings for our foundation. After the foundation was poured, I laid styrofoam panels to insulate the basement floor and 6mm plastic for a vapor barrier. The styrofoam sheets were 4x8, 2 inches thick. They made a big difference once the cement floor was poured. It kept warm in the winter. After the floor joists were in place, we glued and nailed the subfloor. We were ready to go and assemble the walls. Kathy drew the design of the hammerhead beams for this wall on a piece of paper, and John was able to cut them exactly how she wanted it. Day Pond Woodworking cut all the beams in New Hampshire. John and Abby owned the business. Abby was Kathy's childhood friend from grade school. These beams were solid red oak, and it took 4 people to lift one end. We could barely do that. We built the 4 walls on the deck. They hired me as a laborer, and they deducted my earnings from their bill. Everything was mortise and tendons, no nails. The joints and wooden pegs held everything in place. The 4 walls are assembled. It took at least a day to put each wall together. We are ready for the crane. The first wall is lifted by the crane. Some of the posts are over 1,400 pounds individually. How many people get to do something like this? We were so lucky, and we were crazy to even try. The second wall is being lifted by the crane. That's going to go in the middle of the house. The posts have tendons on the bottom of them that are being positioned into holes to hold them in place. Purlins are horizontal structural members. They're inserted, and then maple pegs are driven in to hold the walls securely together. This is a very heavy purlin. Even with the crane's assistant, it takes 3 people to get it into place. Richard was guiding a purlin into place. Everything has to fit perfectly, and it did. Richard is guiding the dovetail joint to drop in place. The dovetail joint locks everything together. It's wider at the outside, narrower at the inside, and only gets tighter when pressure is pulled against it. This was a special day for us. It was surreal in so many ways. Our dream was coming true. You can see how the dovetail joint works. These joints were used in construction for centuries, still used today. All these oak posts and beams were all cut in a shop. No lasers, measured by hand, cut with radial arm saws, chisels, and mortise tools. John was a craftsman. These softwood mallets prevent damage to the beams. A few times we had to pound these purlins to seat them correctly. Richard and John are guiding this piece into place. It's incredible how sturdy the structure was. Another wall is being lifted into place. To think the Amish still erect barns by hand, relying on community barn raisings. 4 tendons will drop into holes in the floor. That provides an anchor spot to keep the bottom of the posts in place. The outside of the posts and beams weren't stained. They go against the wall and they won't be seen. Everything went well today. To think these beams were cut in New Hampshire, brought on 2 logging trucks to Vermont, and everything fits. They are attaching the straps that the crane lifts. Each wall has to weigh a few tons. Those straps are rated for that. Earl did a fantastic job operating the crane. Everything was lifted smoothly, and the purlins were inches away from where they needed to go. They're raising another wall. This is the one with the hammerhead beams, the special wall. This crane lifted everything with ease, and I know that each of these walls weighed tons. Hammerhead beam is so beautiful. I don't know where Kathy got the idea for it. It looks awesome. This was all so incredible. It was 35 years ago. I'm surprised I could find any pictures. I had to do screenshots of a copy of an old VHS tape. I'm helping John put this purlin into place. I'm glad I was able to be up here being a part of this. The bottom brace has to be fitted into the beam before they can put everything else together. The way all these joints fit together is a true work of art. I got a real rush of adrenaline that day. I mean, look at this. I think that purlin is 24 feet. I don't know how many men you'd need just to pick it up 1 foot off the ground. Kathy's dad, Mike, was helping today. I think he may have been more excited than we were. What a beautiful day. Blue skies and beams floating in the air. John did a fantastic job designing and constructing everything. I could never do it. I'm not crazy about heights. These beams were so solid, and that made it a little easier. I still wasn't comfortable up there. The maple pegs will be trimmed flush later, and then they'll be stained. Kathy took all the videos and all the pictures. She was standing on the second floor porch of the garage for some of the shots. The skeleton of our dream home was up. We walked around in amazement for the rest of the day. We were blessed to build a dream home and be part of the building process. The outside walls were stressed skin panels, 4.5 inches thick with an R30 insulation factor. Panels are expanded polystyrene insulation sandwiched between OSB and drywall. They weigh between 100 and 200 pounds for a 4x8 sheet. They are manufactured in a large press. Each wall took a day to install the panels. We had to hammer 10-inch nails through them and into the oak beams. At the end of the day, I couldn't lift my hands to eat. I'm not kidding. The main part of the window is in place. I think it cost about $4,000 back then. I can't imagine what it would cost now. We didn't like the overhang. It looked good on the design. I tore it down, had a hole dug, and buried the cement wall. It took over a week to fix that mistake. John and Abby left after this. The shingles are on the roof and the windows and doors are all in. It was weather tight. We started living in the house. Camping, actually. I put the siding on the house. Lots of fun to do by yourself with ladders. All hand-nailed. My friend Hal Bickford is a professional painter. He sprayed the house brown. He did 2 coats. Came out great. I sure had a lot of trash to clean up. Luckily, the dump was only 2 miles away. This is a view from the road when it was all finished. It was probably 5 years after the shell was erected. Maybe longer. I built the porch one summer. We spent a lot of time sitting on the porch enjoying the view, the dogs, the breeze, the hummingbirds. This is the house viewed from the garage. Plenty of lawn to mow. In the winter, the ground would freeze and you could drive right up to the door. This looks so much better without the overhang. I think it came out nice. A great view out the window. We could see Burke Mountain, Mount Washington, and Franconia Notch. Carl Armstrong built this fireplace. I picked all the stones off the stone walls and brought them into the house. It took about 7 years to get the house finally finished. I think it came out awesome. Kathy found this newel post in New Hampshire at an antique warehouse. We were tripping over it for years before we even built this house. She said we would use it someday, and she was right. Kathy drew the design for this window and the grills, and Marvin Windows built it exactly to her specifications. The way it looked with the hammerhead beams was incredible. Kathy decorated the house so nice. She made the house a home. It always looked special. It took quite a few years before we could afford the kitchen cabinets. That made it better when we finally got them. This stairway is the best carpentry I've ever done. It took a lot of figuring some unusual obstacles before I could even start on it. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it.